Hi guys, and welcome back to Petrolhead Podcasts. The Audi Q7 has established itself as the quintessential three-row luxury family SUV, combining an upmarket look with great technology, a polished driving experience and excellent value for money compared to other German three-row luxury SUVs like the BMW X7 and Mercedes-Benz GLS. Despite being introduced way back in 2016, the current generation Q7 is still soldering on and just received a second mid-cycle refresh for the 2025 model year. But given the strength of the competition in the segment, is another mid-cycle refresh enough to keep the Q7 competitive? Join me as I go through an in-depth comparison to give you the answer. Today, we will be comparing the 2025 Audi Q7 45 Quattro against three other similarly positioned premium luxury three-row SUVs. Firstly, we have another perennial favorite in the Acura MDX, which has also received a mid-cycle refresh for the 2025 model year. Next, we have a newcomer in the Lexus TX350, which was all new for the 2024 model year, is based on the Toyota Grand Highlander, and represents the first ever Lexus entrant into this popular segment. And lastly, we have the 2025.5 Volvo XC90 B5, which, like the Audi, is another aging but popular luxury SUV that has also just received a second mid-cycle refresh. First of all, in terms of exterior styling, the changes to the updated Q7 are surprisingly effective and noticeable. Up front, the new headlights with an updated daytime running light signature are now connected to Audi's signature U-shaped grille, which also has a redesigned pattern to bring it in line with newer Audi products like the upcoming 2026 Q5. The new side vents also have an attractive design, again inspired by the new Q5. Moving on to the side, and the design falls apart a bit. The general shape is very old-looking and rather plain, with flat square shapes and not a lot of interesting or modern design elements. And from the side, the Q7 looks like a wagon rather than an SUV. Round back, the Q7 retains the classy but conservative design of the previous model, but features updated taillights and new visible exhaust tips, which are both welcome changes. Overall, the Q7 is a smart but rather plain and uninteresting SUV to look at. Moving on to the Acura MDX, and the 2025 update has been a very subtle one. This is not a bad thing though, as the basic design still feels fresh and good looking. Up front, the design of the slim headlights and the five-sided signature Acura grille work well with each other, and the updated bumper for 2025, featuring a sportier side vent design, looks good. On the side, the MDX has great proportions, despite being based on a front-wheel drive platform, with a tall hood, gradually sloping roofline, and a sleeker and more interesting glasshouse design than the Audi. I don't like the indent and plastic trim near the bottom of the doors that looks rather out of place, but otherwise the car looks good. Round back, the MDX again looks pretty sporty and modern, with slim triangle-shaped taillights and a sloping glasshouse. Overall, a really modern, premium and sporty-looking SUV. Next, looking at the Lexus TX, which does not have very interesting styling. Up front, the car is dominated by the Lexus spindle grille and seems rather overstyled. The grille protrudes too much, and all of the other design elements, including the headlights and side vents, seem to all merge into the grille. Overall, it creates a design that is too aggressive and doesn't really work well with the rest of the car's squared-off shape. On the side, the profile is very plain, with the relatively low ride height combined with the boxy profile, creating an even more wagon-like feel than the Audi. Round back again, the slim and sporty taillights seem to clash with the boxy general design of the car, and it all doesn't seem to work very well together. Overall, the Lexus is not a very cohesive-looking car, and you can tell that the designers were compromised in being forced to combine the Toyota Grand Highlander's basic proportions with as many signature Lexus design elements as possible. Lastly, looking at the updated Volvo XC90, which still looks very modern and minimalist despite the basic design being 10 years old. Up front, just like the Audi, new elements make the XC90 look surprisingly modern. The slimmer headlights that retain the signature Thor's hammer daytime running light design looks great, and so does the wider grille and the new vertically oriented side vents. I'm not the biggest fan of the lower grille with its oval shape, but overall the XC90's front has a lot of presence and feels very upmarket. On the side, the XC90's profile has not changed, and the upright and boxy stance gives the car more of an off-roader vibe than any of the other three cars and looks great. The clean overall look has aged very well, and round back, again, the general design still looks really good all these years later, and nice refinements such as the updated taillights add a welcome touch of modernity. Overall, the Volvo has a timeless Scandinavian look that has aged really well. In terms of styling, the best of the four for me is the MDX, which has a sporty and modern look that is attractive. In second is the Volvo. The recent updates combined with the upright off-roader-like stance and minimalist design with great presence still work great many years after the car was first introduced. In third place is the Audi. The updates to the Q7's front end are very effective, but the plain and old-feeling side profile lets the car down. In last place is the Lexus. The overstyled individual elements, especially on the front of the car, and the questionable overall proportions relegate the TX to last place. Moving on to the interiors, and the new Audi Q7 still retains the basic design of the previous model. Aside from newly updated software for the infotainment and digital gauges, as well as trim and material changes, the Q7 is unchanged compared to before. The general layout of the interior is fine, with a minimalist and upmarket feel, and material quality is very high, with a lot of real metal trim, leather, and soft touch plastics. However, the technology in the Q7 is no longer good enough for today's standards. The twin-screen dashboard with a small 10.1-inch main display and a separate display for climate controls looks outdated, especially compared to the latest Audi Q5 and A5 that have a curved 14.5-inch central touchscreen that is much bigger and feels more modern. The virtual cockpit instrument cluster also feels a generation old compared to the gauge cluster in the A5 and Q5. Additionally, there is too much piano black plastic on the dashboard that will scratch easily and leave fingerprints. In terms of practicality, the Q7 offers 41.7 inches of front legroom, 38.8 inches of second-row legroom, and 29.2 inches of third-row legroom. A maximum of 58.5 inches of shoulder room in the second row is on the small side for the segment. In terms of cargo volume, the Q7 has a total of 69.6 cubic feet behind the first row, which is also small for this segment. The Acura MDX has an upmarket and sporty feeling cabin. The general design in the Acura is good, with a driver-focused feeling. Build and material quality is good, with a lot of stitched surfaces and soft touch surfaces, although it is not on the level of the Audi and has more plastic trim pieces and less solid feeling buttons and controls. The design also feels busier than the Audi, with a lot more physical buttons and switches. For 2025, the MDX receives a much-needed technology upgrade and now has a 12.3-inch central touchscreen. The new screen is responsive and well-featured, but the digital gauge cluster, on the other hand, does not have the level of functionality of Audi's system. In terms of available features, the only notable item not available is a power-operated third row. In terms of practicality, the MDX has a total of 41.6 inches of front legroom, 38.5 inches of second-row legroom, and 29.1 inches of third-row legroom, all very similar figures to the Audi. The cabin is very wide with 60.3 inches of shoulder room in the second row. In terms of cargo volume, the MDX has a total of 71.4 cubic feet of space behind the first row. The Lexus TX has a luxurious but plain-looking cabin. The general design is minimalist and modern, but it feels rather basic with a lack of metal or wood trim elements on the dashboard and stitched surfaces. However, material and build quality are both very good in the Lexus. In terms of technology, the Lexus features a 14-inch central touchscreen with the latest generation Lexus software that is a huge step up from the previous touchpad-based system. In terms of equipment, the TX is lacking with things such as a 360-degree camera and even the fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster being optional, which is rather unacceptable for this segment of vehicle. In terms of practicality, the TX has an impressive 41.6 inches of front legroom, 39.5 inches of second-row legroom, and a class-leading 33.5 inches of third-row legroom. A shoulder room of 59 inches in the second row. Cargo volume is also class-leading, with a massive 97 cubic feet behind the first row, which is extremely impressive for this segment. Lastly, the Volvo XC90 has an amazing interior. Much like the exterior, the general design of the interior still feels modern, and the wood, metal, and leather finishes combine to deliver a warm feeling and upmarket space. Material quality is very good in the Volvo, but it does not quite have the level of solid feeling build quality as the Audi. The new floating 11.2-inch central screen featuring Volvo's latest software elevates the user experience, and the digital dials are clear and easy to use. Like the Acura, the only notable omission from available features is a power folding third row. In terms of practicality, the XC90 has 40.9 inches of front legroom, 37 inches of second row legroom, and 31.9 inches of third row legroom. The XC90 has only 56.5 inches of shoulder room in the second row, making it the narrowest of the four cars. In terms of cargo volume, the Volvo has an impressive 85.7 cubic feet of space behind the first row, which is second only to the Lexus. Overall, for interiors, the Volvo is the best car here, combining a minimalist interior with good materials, modern technology, and a very practical cabin with great third-row legroom and cargo volume. In second place is the Acura MDX. The MDX is not the most spacious but has a sporty and modern feeling interior and good levels of technology. In third place is the Audi. The Q7 has class-leading build and material quality and has an expensive feeling cabin. Unfortunately, it is let down by having the least cargo volume and old feeling technology. In last place is the Lexus. The TX has the largest cabin in terms of overall space and good technology, but the general design feels generic and the Lexus is lacking in standard equipment compared to the other cars. In terms of drivetrains, The Audi Q7 45 Quattro has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 261 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. This is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission and sends power through Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system. The Q7 rides on fixed steel suspension. In terms of performance and economy, the Q7 accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.7 seconds and achieves a combined fuel economy figure of 22 mpg. The Acura MDX has a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine producing 290 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. This is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission and sends power through a front-biased all-wheel drive system. The MDX has fixed steel suspension. The MDX accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.5 seconds and achieves a combined fuel economy figure of 21 mpg. The Lexus TX350 has a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. This is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, sending power through a front-biased all-wheel drive system. The TX350 accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.8 seconds and achieves a combined economy figure of 23 mpg. The Volvo XC90 B5 has a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with a 48-volt mild hybrid system producing 247 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. This is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission sending power through a front-biased all-wheel drive system. The XC90 has fixed steel suspension and is optionally available with an air suspension system. The XC90 accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds and achieves a combined economy rating of 26 mpg. Overall, for drivetrains, the best of the four is the XC90. It combines class-competitive power and acceleration figures with the best fuel economy and is the only vehicle available with air suspension with the base engine option. In second place is the MDX, which is uniquely available with a V6 at this price level and has the best acceleration figures. In third is the Audi, which has a good balance of power and economy. In last is the Lexus, which is by far the slowest accelerating vehicle yet does not have any real fuel economy benefit compared to its rivals. Moving on to the driving experience, the Audi Q7 is an excellent vehicle to drive. The Q7 is based on the same platform as the Porsche Cayenne and has a similar basic chassis layout, resulting in a car that, even with the base fixed suspension, offers a really good balance between comfort and sportiness. The suspension soaks up bumps well, while still delivering a class-leading level of body control through corners, giving the vehicle a sure-footed feeling. The 2-liter 4-cylinder is not the most inspiring engine, but is very smooth and linear in its power delivery, and works well with the 8-speed automatic transmission. The steering is direct and responsive, the cabin is quiet, and overall the Audi delivers a very high-quality feeling driving experience. The Acura MDX has similar traits to the Audi. Despite being based on a front-wheel drive platform, the advanced all-wheel drive and chassis tuning gives the MDX a really good level of overall ride quality as well as agility. The variable ratio steering is also surprisingly direct for a vehicle in this segment. The MDX's naturally aspirated V6 engine, while very smooth, does require the driver to rev out the car significantly more than the other vehicles here when accelerating hard. Overall, the MDX is not quite as sporty as the Q7 and doesn't feel quite as isolated, but remains a great SUV to drive. The Volvo XC90's driving experience lacks the polish of the Audi and Acura. The 2-liter engine seems strained when worked hard, and the car's ride seems less settled over uneven surfaces, both on the standard suspension and on the optional air suspension, with a firmness that is not ideal for this type of vehicle. Body control is decent in corners, but again is not as good as the Audi and Acura, and the vehicle does not feel sporty to drive, with a tendency to understeer in corners. The Lexus TX has a surprisingly good driving experience. The TX has a very compliant ride, and the cabin feels quiet and well isolated. The TX also has better body control than the Volvo, feeling surprisingly well balanced through corners. Unfortunately, the turbocharged engine is not inspiring and seems strained when worked hard, and the transmission is also not the quickest to respond. Overall, for driving experience, the Q7 is the most accomplished vehicle, with a smooth engine and an excellent combination of comfort and sportiness. In second is the MDX, which has similar traits to the Audi but is overall not as composed. In third place is the TX, which has a very comfortable ride and decent handling, but the engine is unrefined. In last place is the XC90, which fails to deliver in terms of both ride and handling, and the engine is also not the smoothest. So which is the best 3-row luxury family SUV out of these 4 cars? Personally, the Acura MDX is the best overall package. The MDX combines unique and sporty styling with a modern interior, a refined powertrain, and a good balance between ride and handling. The MDX's interior is not as spacious as the Volvo and Lexus, and the fuel economy is not the best, but the Acura still feels like the best all-round vehicle here. In second place is the Volvo XC90, which has an excellent interior with good practicality, a good-looking exterior, and great fuel economy. Unfortunately, the lackluster driving dynamics let the Volvo down. In third place is the Audi, which has the best driving experience of these four cars, a good powertrain setup and excellent interior quality. Unfortunately, it has the lowest cargo volume and the vehicle feels dated both inside and out. In last place is the Lexus. The TX has a comfortable ride and the best practicality of the four cars. However, the TX's exterior and interior feel too generic for this class of car and the engine is unrefined. So what do you guys think of this conclusion? And what are your thoughts on these 4 3-row luxury family SUVs? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel to be the first to see more amazing content like this in the future. Cheers.